Let it Let it
Good evening. Let me get over here to comments, make sure y'all can hear me. Best seat in the house. Good evening. Looks like we made it. We're doing pretty good. We can hear. Thank you, Corindus. That's what I needed to know. Awesome. I see a few of y'all signed into some of the different sites so that you could be first. Because I can tell you right now, my favorite site, which is YouTube, Dominique and Nick are ruling over there. They signed in early, 6:16, 6:17 p.m. And I see someone else made a shout out down here. First one on, I think that was Troy. So Troy might be the first one on the Facebook page that he signed in on. And I think Elder Manny is claiming the same fame. So he might have signed into a different Facebook post page as well. I have a coaching and a mentoring page. So that's probably why y'all believe you're first. But I know Elder Manny said, wherever I am, I have the best seat in the house. Do we have any claim to fames on that? Good evening. Good evening. Prophet Charlene, good evening. You should be able to see it on YouTube. My YouTubers are on here. Mrs. May's Place is saying hello from YouTube, so it should be there. Go back in and try it again. YouTube does take a little longer. I have it on my TV screen in my office here, and it does take a little longer to come on after I hit live broadcast. And at one point, I had hit live broadcast, and I thought y'all were here, and you weren't even here. I looked up at the screen, and I guess I didn't hit it well enough. Yeah, Elder Manny's saying he was first tonight, so I guess he's on the Facebook page that he's on. I'm not sure what page he's on, but good evening, people. Good evening. Good evening. I'm glad whether you're first or second or third. I think I read in someone's comments here, you start by getting on. Someone had posted that to someone else on here, and I looked. Good, Dajane. I'm glad you're on, and I prefer that you be on YouTube. YouTube does more for you when you get the likes and the followers up more than Facebook does. And Facebook, some people where I was talking to today said, you didn't see I posted this and you didn't see I posted that. And I'm like, nope, didn't see any of that. And that's just how weird Facebook can really be. So I'm just glad everyone is on. I'm glad you're safe. We are here. You look nice and clear, and background is nice. Okay. I ain't feeling it on my end, but I think I remember what happened, Ebony. I think I was using a separate camera on my iMac last year. And that separate camera, I was able to change it to a different portrait style. And that's why more of the screen is getting off the page with me just using it from my iMac. But so good to see y'all. Best seat in the house. Very good. I see last night really did something for y'all soul. I had lunch with Corindus today, And I said she was sharing her experience last night, that when I had shared with you all that I felt such a peace, such a calming come over me. And she said, I was so glad you said that, because I was feeling something on my end and I wasn't sure what was going on here. So it seems like, the Holy Spirit has confirmed himself again and allowed us to feel his presence with distance, because we know that there's no distance in him. He is the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. That's right, Mike. Give a shout out to Nick. All the men give each other a shout out. We are soul detoxers. Are you detoxing? I got a couple nice t-shirts in the mail today. I meant to wear one tonight, but I was doing, of course, 1,000 things at once. So I will have one on tomorrow night for y'all. Every Soul Detox, we come up with 2 or 3 different t-shirts, and I'm going to start that probably by tomorrow night. Good to see y'all. Good to see you. Welcome. All right. So take a moment and put in on the screen for me. Hey, Nancy, hello. Put in on the screen for me what state you are coming in from. You can put your city as well if you like. Put out your city and state on the screen. We're only at 110 right now. So it is Friday night, and some people just got paid. It's Friday night. What is it? The feelings pumping. I forget that song. It was so old. Canada, Virginia, Connecticut, Massachusetts. Sound like Peyton's song when she had to learn all of the different states for her geography class. She had a song that she got off of YouTube, and she sang the song so that she could remember to pass her test. Come on, Connecticut. Come on, Connecticut. Hello, Bettina, Kamisha. Hello. Good to see you. Daniel Woodard. God bless you, sir. Thank you. Very good to see y'all tonight. We're up to 115 now. Looks like folks are coming in. I'm ready to get started. I think we hit some really good places on last night. Come on, Connecticut. Heartbeat. Wyoming. That's what I'm talking about. Come on. Beautiful. Dancing's getting down. Last night was overwhelming. Okay, for those that felt something from last night, whether your expression was overwhelming or not, tell me, what did you do to get through the night? Did you take a hot bath, a hot shower? Did you light some eucalyptus candles? Maybe some vanilla or lavender candles? Hey, Tulsa, did you go to bed? Oh, Cheryl Ubi, you got to tell me if I'm saying your name right, Cheryl. I want to give a shout out to Cheryl from Canada's mama, who is watching tonight with her. Come on. Hi, mama. Welcome to our 30-day detox. We're glad to have you here with us. We are live and direct on your television screen. Hello, mama in Canada. Someone said I drank some peppermint tea. Someone said I took a hot shower. Hello, Bishop. Nice to see you, Bishop. Hi, Brandon. I sat in silence for a little bit, and then I went to bed. Good. Someone said I laid back in awe. Someone else said they went and prayed. I journaled. Another person. Very good. Very good. That's what we do. All right. So we are on day 5. What happened? We are on day 5. Has anyone had the opportunity yet to check out the podcast? I stayed up extra late last night updating them. They are on, just going to take a moment and give them a shout out if it works out that easy. All the places that are playing because y'all are delegates of this ministry, our Soul Detox podcast. I'm going to give a shout out to these places. It's not that many. I see a hot shower. Sat in silence. Very good. Let me know if you went on and listened on any of the podcasts yet. So this I'll tell you. The podcast is on Apple Podcasts, of course. What's this one? Google Podcasts is another. What's this one? A podcast called Overcast. Another one called pca.st. Okay, it's called Pocket Cast. If you're looking for places to listen to podcasts at and you want to find one that gives the free subscription, I'm giving you enough names out tonight. There's another one that's called radiopublic.com. We are also on radiopublic.com and Spotify. And then lastly, okay, that one doesn't pop up, but Spotify, and I don't know what this one is. I think it's just an RSS feed. Good. So Leah listened on Apple. I'm saying it right. Ubi, very good. Mom says, thank you for the shout out. She's still recovering from a stroke she had, but she's excited to join us. And we are excited to have her here and tell her that we are thanking God for giving her a second chance at life. And we pray that she not understands it. I'm hearing something from God for her and it's mixing up with what I want to say from her. I pray that she enjoys life even more to the fullest this time around, post-stroke, because God has given her a second chance to do life even better. Tell her this time, enjoy it. This time, be a little more selfish for herself and make sure she does all the things that she wanted to do. And always remember to give glory to God for each and every day is definitely a gift for us and for Mama. We bless you. All right. Y'all told me what you did on last night. You all have downloaded the Wix app. Let's go through our assignments and we're going to get started. You downloaded the Wix app. You know about the podcast stations. Y'all assessments will be sent out again on Sunday night. So make sure you have them completed by Monday and into your coach within, I would say by Monday, the latest. Monday is the latest. That's the extension that I'm actually giving to my coaches. But before Monday, you should hear from my coaches regarding your assessment. They're either going to send you a message saying, hello, I'm Coach Latanya, I'm Coach Lisa, I'm Coach Maria, and I'm here as a guide to help you through these 30 days. I'm a support resource to you. We received your assessment and we will keep it in record and compare them to the next 3 weeks as they come in. You should be hearing from my coaches, the latest on Monday from all of the assessments that came in this week. Now, if you just send yours in Sunday night or Monday, don't expect to hear from them on Monday. This is from everyone who sent them in over this past week. So good evening. Good evening, Mary Harris. Good to see you. Bless the Lord. All right, let's see what else we got to do here. I think I'm pretty good with all of that. I had you check in from Connecticut, and I don't know if I'm on Podbean anymore, Ebony. I think when I changed podcast companies, I don't think it's Podbean anymore. It's Anchor. We'll say that. Anchor.com. You can also anchorfm.com is the other podcast place I'm on. Yes, Troy. I'm telling you, don't let this having a coach just be for the rich and famous, y'all. Don't let it just be for the promoted and successful people. Include it in your life. You can hit the ceiling by yourself, but you need someone to get you out over that ceiling. Have you thinking about things you never thought about before, being aware of things that you weren't even aware of before, being confident in things that you weren't even confident in before. I love how you're all saying hello to everybody on here. So why don't you do that? I'm going to go ahead and get started. But why don't you go ahead and say hello to everyone? And I'm going to start reading my introductory. And we're going to just continue to move on from there. I think that's a good safe space for us to move in from. We're meeting for these 30 days, and we're here learning about defense mechanisms, and now we've even moved into coping mechanisms. But whether you know it or not, you are most likely in a constant battle with your defenses. We all are. Day to day, we battle with reality. How can we cope? And what level of effort is needed for me to survive my life, my current giving circumstances? We all wrestle with ourselves, and reality is our only opponent. Defense mechanisms are necessary and useful to every human being on this planet. If we did not possess the ability, we would simply not survive. Even persistent and overly protective defenses indicate resiliency in us, often leftovers from some troublesome part or season or time in our life, or a troublesome life from the beginning. After all, we didn't have a chance as infants and toddlers and young adults to choose our life. But after 18, the choice is ours. And that's why we're here tonight. We're here to clean up what they messed up. We're here to determine the destination of our mind and our life that maybe wasn't afforded to us when we were under their roofs or raised in their pathology. Like the notion of an unconscious mind, the idea of defense mechanisms has entered the mainstream and colored our understanding of the human nature. Nearly everyone understands, though, what it means to appear defensive or to react defensively. And that's why we like to use Sigmund Freud's original definition of this sort of mechanism, a fending off, a warding off. It's a way that we're protecting ourselves. We're fending ourselves from something that we perceive as a threat. We are fending ourselves. We are protecting ourselves. We're moving away from, either in thought or in posture, in activity, moving away from something that we perceive does not feel good to us. It can be all considered a threat, but sometimes maybe we know it's not a threat, but it doesn't feel good. I'm not ready to confront this. I have confronted people on some things in their lives, and they were like, I'm not ready to deal with that. And I said, I wholeheartedly respect that. Just know that when you're ready, I'm here. Not here to trigger everyone, but being triggered sometimes provides a natural response for someone to say, hey, I'm hurting and I'm afraid and I'm triggered right now, and you're here with me. Can you help me? Can you lead me? Can you guide me? Can you pray with me? Can you hear me out? Can you not judge me? Welcome to your session on tonight. You've been here with me, 5 separate sessions. Tonight, I want you to put yourself in a mental space in the here and the now. I want you to feel what's under your hands right now. Feel it. I want you to know that you're in this place. You're not out in some fantasy reality. If you're not laying back in a lounger or a very comfortable couch and your feet can touch the ground, I want you to just plant your feet on the ground for a moment. And I want you to be in the here and the now. Squeeze whatever it is in your hand. I'm squeezing the arms to my chair. My feet are on the floor, and I'm pressing my toes into my slippers, and I'm feeling the here and the now, that I am here in this moment and it is real. And now I'm going to give myself permission to lean back, take the pressure off of my legs and my calves, take the pressure off of my back, the pressure off of my shoulders. I'm going to release the pressure that I'm putting into my feet. I'm going to release the chair, and I'm going to enter into a safe space of trust. I'm going to trust this moment. I'm going to trust this place that I'm in. I'm going to breathe and then out. And I'm going to give myself permission to feel what it is that I feel tonight from this session. I'm not on here with 100 and something people. I'm in a nice area, in a beautiful room, and I can hear the birds lightly, the water's blowing behind me, and I'm in such a comfortable place. I don't have a bill to pay. No one's looking for me. I don't have to do anything for anyone. I don't owe anyone anything. I'm in a trusted, safe space with my mental health life coach, who is Team Me. Whatever your name is, I am Team You. I'm not here because your husband sent me or your wife sent me. I'm not here for your church. I'm not here for the court systems. I'm not here as a place of judgment. I am Team You. I am here for you. Relax, breathe in your nose, and breathe out your mouth. Let the Holy Spirit feel you. Let him feel the presence in the room that you're in right now. And go to a nice, special, beautiful, organized, clean, safe space where only you and I exist right now, and the Holy Spirit. I had a dream we did this part, so I'm just brought it back to my memory. We're going to do this. And I want you to think of one thing in your mind that you're grateful for right now. Get one thing in your mind that you're grateful for. I was trained when I had to learn to find things to be grateful for. Yeah, I had to learn what to be grateful for. I found out that it works if you need the extra push to think like this. If I wasn't here any longer, what would be one thing that I would miss? You know, if you're on the other side, you're at peace. Of course, you're not going to miss anything. But when you're able to be in this moment and think about if you weren't here anymore, what would be one thing that you miss? And I want you to just give your higher power, give your glory, give your honor to what it is that you believe in. I'm giving glory to God for being in a right mind and for enjoying the sunrise. I'm thanking God for the sunrise. I'm grateful to be able to wake up and see the sun rise. What is it that you're grateful for? What is it that you would miss if you weren't here anymore? Very good. Well, we got in this portion in our session yesterday, and we had dealt with a brief summary of what it is to have coping mechanisms that were either adaptive or maladaptive. And we finished the adaptive coping mechanisms portion. Go ahead, you can post it on the screen, that's fine. And I'm just going to recap briefly on that with a couple of lines. And then I'll move into, as promised, maladaptive coping mechanisms. I know I would certainly miss my granddaughter. I would miss my son. I would miss worshiping God. You know, I had to learn. I would miss that first taste of coffee in the morning. I love myself some coffee, especially now that I've gotten down to just 1 teaspoon of sugar. I went from 4 to 3 to 1 teaspoon of sugar to hopefully by the end of this year, maybe I'll be at none. But there's something that we would all miss if we were able to think if we weren't here anymore. So just be grateful for something in this presence. So adaptive coping mechanisms are positive, life-enhancing ways of dealing with stressors. I'm going to say that again because you just utilized one coping mechanism. Can anyone guess what it is? Tell me one coping mechanism that was adaptive, an adaptive coping mechanism that you just utilized just now. Gratitude. Come on, Sylvia. Gratitude. Do you know that if every time we stressed out, we changed the channel in our mind and thought about something we're grateful for, we can save ourselves from going down a rabbit hole? Gratitude. If we took the time, instead of stressing, instead of seeing traffic, knowing traffic is usually backed up at this time or this hour or this direction. We know it's going to be backed up. We're going to New York. You know what traffic's going to be like in New York. Why are we freaking out again? Let's take some time instead of waiting for Thanksgiving and change the channel in our mind from choosing to be stressful. And let's choose to be thankful for something in our lives. I often say this to people who can't manage stress too well, that are in close proximity to me. I'll say, there's a lot of people that I know that are young people that are in the grave. And I bet you they would pay to be sitting alive again in traffic. As much as we don't like to think about having debt, there are people that are in the grave, young people at that would be grateful to have your debt, because having debt means they're alive still. It doesn't mean that you should be grateful for debt. No, we need to get out of debt. Debt is a psychological weight. It's darkness. But my point is finding a way to be grateful instead of stressing about a situation. You just utilized on this session with you and I an adaptive coping mechanisms. Adaptive coping mechanisms are positive and they're life enhancing. And these are mechanisms that we use to deal with stress. These are healthier coping mechanisms that support your life and the direction you want to go when dealing with stress. Those who choose adaptive coping mechanisms tend to have a positive outlook. People want to be around them. And choosing to find, search out, add to your life adaptive coping mechanisms, which will give you a positive outlook on life, which then will strengthen your mental health, can even help you in other areas where you're suffering poor mental health. Dealing with these challenges head on will also build your confidence. You're looking to build your self-confidence. Get some healthy stressors, some healthy adaptive coping mechanisms in your life. You want self-esteem? I coach people on self-esteem. I want to do one out here in the town I live on. I want to go talk to the library and see if we can gather some preteens in before they're teenagers and ask if I can do a self-esteem boot camp there. We want to help with self-esteem and self-confidence. These are some of the biggest issues that people are going to psychiatrists and therapists for, not for self-confidence and self-esteem. They're going in for other reasons. But what they end up getting is challenges that are placed in their lives to help them understand, if you had self-confidence, you could handle this better. If you had a healthy self-esteem, you would see this differently. So usually what you go into the office for and what you end up getting are completely different things, because what you see as fruit from a tree is not the root that keeps producing the fruit. So instead of asking us to give you fruit spray killer, we give you root killer. We go to the root of the issue so it stops producing the same fruit. Fruit is symptoms of a deeper issue. You think of it and what we just went through in 2019 and 2020 and still dealing with today. COVID is a root. The symptoms is the sore throat, the lethargy, the coughing, even to the point afterwards where you end up with foggy memory, all of those things. It's the same thing psychologically. It's the same thing in mental health. You want to deal with, I'm having a troublesome time in this relationship, and this seems to be the same pattern that I keep going through over and over again in every relationship. Well, The trunk of you may carry a psyche of codependence. So you keep attracting these same type of people because at your core, you have a codependent personality. So what happened at the root? How do we get rid of codependence? How do we keep you from attracting the same type of people? We have to go to the root of the problem. And the root usually takes us back to childhood. Someone abandoned you. Someone left you. The biggest is you were not emotionally attuned, cared for, noticed by the people who were raising you. Yes, they put food on the table. Yes, they provided a roof over your head. Yes, you had a bedroom, and yes, maybe you had a closet full of clothes. But were you emotionally attuned? Were you told stop crying? Were you told, or were you asked, why are you crying? Were you told stop being a punk instead of asking, why are you afraid? Were you bullied instead of being told that you are so strong and I want to help you? Did they shut your emotions down? Did they not lean into your emotional feelings that you had growing up? So now you don't know what to do with emotions. And a lot of people think that emotions are the devil. They think emotions are the enemy. They think emotions are for weak people. People think emotions are for women. But I can tell you statistically through positive research, it has been deemed that men are actually more emotional than women. And that is because they were told to turn it off more often than we were. Where women will cry to get what they want because we learned that crying got us what we want or got us a whipping, but we knew there was choices. And men were don't cry. You're a sissy. You're a little girl. You're weak. Go in your room until you stop crying. Or the worst one, I'm going to give you something to cry for. I'm already crying for something. So you're telling me what I'm feeling right now is not valid. What I'm feeling right now makes no sense. You're telling me that I cannot trust my feelings because you think I don't have a reason to cry over what I'm crying for. So you're going to give me something that's hurtful, physically hurtful. A spanking was usually the threat. Maybe a punishment or timeout, depending on your parents' parenting style. But your feeling in that moment, even if your feeling was wrong, it wasn't validated so you could learn to understand. I should not be angry because my ice cream fell off the cone. That's not the correct emotion for that. But we learn because we were told, don't be sad, don't cry. If you drop something or break something, I'm going to pop you. So when the ice cream falls off the cone, we internalize how sad we feel, how bad we wanted that ice cream, how long it took it for them to get it for us. And now we drop it. And I cannot go to them and tell them that I dropped it because they're going to tell me I'm a sissy or I'm clumsy. I can't go to them and tell them that I dropped it because I'm not going to get another one. I'm going to get a harsh response and not one that says, come here. It wasn't your fault. I'm going to give you a few seconds to cry. Feel that. Because you're either feeling like you're embarrassed or you're blaming yourself. You don't blame yourself for losing the ice cream on the cone. It's been happening for millennials. Someone's always dropping an ice cream off their cone. You're not the first one. It's an accident. Let mommy teach you about accidents today. Let daddy teach you about accidents today. Anger is not the appropriate emotion. If you are angry for something like that, it tells us that the parenting style in your household does not provide a safe place for you to process your emotions. No one has helped you to understand emotions. So most things in life that should be a healthy challenge, that are sometimes strategically sent from God, just normal provision in life, challenges. They are there to teach us self-confidence, self-esteem, great moral response, integrity, learning to be honest. But when we know we're going to get a spanking for dropping our ice cream, we're going to learn to lie. We're going to learn to manipulate so we can get another ice cream. Are y'all getting my example tonight? Yep. Come on, Dajanay, I'm reading it. And more often than none, for adults, there's a couple of emotions that we show or we recognize, or maybe we just do, we display those the most. We show anger. Anger is a very prominent secondhand emotion because we're hiding the real emotion, the real feeling, the real thoughts behind it because we were not simply taught it's okay to cry. It's not embarrassing. You don't have to be vulnerable to cry. It's your right to cry. Feel that. If you want, go back for a moment in that childhood where you felt your emotions were shut off. The response that you needed from your caretakers, your guardians, your role models, your parents was not one of what you needed. Go there for a moment. If you broke something, put it back together in your memory and tell yourself it's fixed. We got it. Come on with me. And pull the memory forward. It's a powerful action. It's a powerful model. See, you have to remember everything now is a memory. When we started here 37 minutes ago, all of those are memories. We cannot change them, but you know what we can do? We can go back and say, I'm going to gather who I was or how I responded then. And I'm going to minister to myself. I'm going to talk to myself. I'm going to give proper, healthy self-talk. And I'm going to say something like, it wasn't your fault. You were late. You don't have to be embarrassed about what you just shared on the post. I'm in a stronger place now. It's 37 minutes later, or it's 15 years later, or it's 30 years later, and we turned out okay. We may not be where I want us to be, younger self, but we're doing an excellent job at getting us there every single day now. And minister to the younger self and pull them forward and say, you're safe, you're okay, I validate you. It's powerful when you can go back. It's just a memory now. It's just a memory. So it's no issue with going back. I heard a preacher once say one time when he preached at our church and he didn't know that God had given me his sermon while he was preaching. God had given it to me in a psychological understanding. And it was Pastor Fabian Still. And he preached, this is not how the story ends. And while he was ministering about a particular story in the Bible and how this person's life, this character's life in the Bible, this person's life in the Bible, forgive me, had turned around in a completely different lesson, he used that as his theme for this is not how the story ends. But the Lord was even showing me a psychological model that all of these things are memories, and the story doesn't have to end like that. You can really minister to your younger self because it's only a memory, and go back to where they were abandoned and deserted and left out, and those words that were said are still hurting you to this day. And tell your younger self, I got you. We survived it. We didn't die there. I'm still moving forward in life, and I'm not where I want to be. And it's not a cliche. You have to mean it. I'm not where I want to be, but we are not that little child that they mistreated, misunderstood, mishandled. They were not prepared for who we were. But I, the adult size version of you today, I got us. We're safe. I got us. And that's what we do. And we move ourselves forward. Those are adaptive coping mechanisms. When you can find gratitude in a situation in your life, maybe not even in that situation at the time, but you can grab some gratitude from somewhere else in your life. You can grab some gratitude by saying, boy, I'm so much better than I thought I would even turn out with what I had to grow up under. Adaptive coping mechanisms. They were not prepared for us. We survived, we thrived, and now we have the victory. These things don't come to kill us. They come to build self-esteem, self-confidence, to be a great moral compass for us in life so we don't have to repeat the same defeats over and over again, repeat the same tests over and over again, continue to fail over and over and over again. Shouldn't have to do it. If we know that the stove burned us once, we don't stop using the stove. We're just cautious because we know the power that is in that stove now. When we start dealing and turning the corner where we're going to go now and deal with maladaptive coping mechanisms, such as avoidance coping. See, this is not healthy. It hinders your growth. Avoidance coping. It hinders your growth, and it literally causes you to stay stuck. You stay stuck. A lot of people are not growing. In their mind, there's a fixed mindset instead of a growth mindset, even in their life. Some people still have the same old things, and not because they're good or not because they believe in if it's not broken, don't fix it, because they are out in their mind somewhere, living a completely different life than everyone else that they're living with. Avoidance coping is not healthy. We talked on last night. We have to face our issues head on with the help of a therapist or a mental health coach or a pastor or a minister or someone in our life that can at least give us a start and then pass our hands into a more trained person or professional hand. You cannot keep going around and around and around again. And sometimes the people that have the most cliches are the ones that are stuck. Sometimes cliches are very often maladaptive coping mechanisms. They quote these things to you when they see something in your life, or they hear something, or they think you need a word of encouragement, and they'll quote, and these cliches just come out. Bible scriptures, cliches from the old days, and that's a coping mechanism for them. They throw these things out because in their mind, this is how they're actually dealing with the issue. When they're not dealing with the issue at all, but to their mind they are, because they threw these cliches out in these scriptures. People quote the Bible. I wish I had a memory where I could quote the Bible. I can't remember half the scriptures that I've been reading for more than half my life that I've been in the Lord now. But I can tell you one thing. It might not come out of this mouth, chapter and verse, but it's coming out of my life. I may not be able to quote it like many can, but I got that application process down. Cliches can be a very maladaptive coping mechanism. It's a front that I got it together. Maladaptive coping mechanisms such as avoidance coping is harmful and generally can cause more stress, additional stress, and difficult emotions as a result. So by avoiding things, we're actually adding to our life more stress and more difficult emotions. Maladaptive coping means participating in activities that are counterproductive and can worsen existing feelings of stress. Oh, by the way, my book is up on Amazon in ebook form. They are going to release it on Monday night. And I want to challenge y'all that whoever goes on and pre-orders it tonight, I'm going to give you something very special to go along with it. Whoever goes on and pre-orders the ebook. Now, if you're waiting for a paper copy, you don't have to do it. I'm going to have to talk to my coaches just to find out what our budget is for this month. Second thing I got to bring up, because what I want to do is everyone who goes on to Amazon.com, the link is on my Facebook page. We'll post it on here and on the my website after this. If you go on and pre-order the ebook, depending on our budget, so that you don't think I'm not a keeper of my word, I'll either do one or two things. One, I'll either reimburse you fully what you paid for pre-ordering the ebook, or I'll give you a companion that goes along with it for free. Yep, the link for the ebook, I think Ebony has just posted up here on the chat. And I'll make sure we post it up on here again before we hang up, because she's posted on YouTube. Okay, and Ubi, you're on YouTube. Angela Copeland, did you purchase from my website the print book, or did you purchase the ebook? If you pre-order the ebook, you remember that comes on Kindle, and you do it tonight before midnight, it's $9.99 for the ebook. I'll either do one or two things for you. I'll either refund you for the full amount, or I'll give you the companion to go with it for free. Ebook on Amazon. It's still in the pre-order mode. And I would love to be able to see if 25 of us could go on there and pre-order the ebook. That will be automatically downloaded on your Kindle on Monday. Automatic. You don't even have to go back in and do anything. And then secondly, because I said it depends on what our budget is, if I can reimburse you fully or just give you the matching companion. I want to thank those who every night have been sending in a Cash App. One lady, I'm not going to call your name out because I didn't have permission to. She's unemployed and she's been given $1 every single night, sewing $1. I want to keep the money, sowing seed. Thank you, Angela Copeland. Thank you, Minister Mike. And there was two other people. If you just text me and tell me that I have permission to say your name, I will have no problem saying your name, but I won't say it without your permission. I want to thank you all for giving a Cash App. Someone sold $50 last night. She said last night she hadn't been on before, and last night she was ministered to her soul, and she felt that a seed of $50 was her reasonable service for this free ministry that she's getting. And I thank her for that. And I know Minister Dr. Vanessa sows a seed every night. There's a couple other people. And, don't worry about me. Thank you. Minister Dr. Vanessa, she's sewing every night. She's sewing $10 a night. And it's a blessing, because then I'm able to do things like this to give back, especially to give back to people who maybe can't get things. And so if I buy it, I get my money right back, or if I buy it, just give me the companion. We're getting ready to restart a conversation we had in church the other day, helping people to get $1,500 in their bank. And one person said, I don't want you to match the $1,500. Could you imagine someone saying that? I don't want you to match the $1,500. I want you to give me something in free life coaching. Because if you give me free life coaching for whatever period of time, Apostle, you're willing to give me, that's like teaching me how to fish instead of giving me fish. I can go out and make more money if I have the mind that it takes to be successful, the mind that it takes to have balanced emotions. So I'm not flipping out and losing it on people and not able to keep a job or get a job. Pre-order prior to midnight tonight on Amazon. So thank you, Dr. Vanessa, and thank you for the other sweethearts. I don't have your name permission, so I don't want to say anything. Forgiven every night. It's such a blessing. When we hang up tonight, it's on Facebook already. If you go to my Facebook page, you'll see the link on there. to pre-order. And it would be such a blessing if we could have 25 people just go on there and pre-order that book before midnight tonight. These are just the things that help me out. And again, I will do exactly what I can do. Aw, look at Constance. She's like, yeah, exactly. That girl is smart. That's worth way more than money. Tanya Pittman says, I agree with that. Yeah, she's a millennial too. The millennials they just think differently. But so I did want to make sure I didn't forget those who have been given. Thank you very much. And I didn't want to forget that the ebook is already on. The paper book, I think, will be on by Monday as well. But of course, then you have to wait for shipping. And if you have Prime, then you can probably get it, within a couple days. But those who ordered it from my website, as soon as it arrives at my house, I'm shipping it out the same day. You all will get an email saying that the order has been fulfilled, and you can either pick it up at the church, or I can mail it to you depending on where your location is. I think I just did it. Not sure if I did the right way, but I do see it on Amazon. Yep. And it's the blue book you want this time. You want defense mechanisms. And my coaches is there. My coaches are there. They'll help you get through it. I need to connect with someone so they can help me get the books and worksheets. Yep. Carmen Figueroa. I called your name out. So Ebony's going to make sure your coach reaches you. You don't have Kindle. Kindle is free. By the way, Aubrey, Kindle is free. So you can either just have Kindle that's up in the cloud, or you can download it on your phone as an app, or you can download it on your iPad or your computer. But Kindle, Kindle, is a free app. And if you're a subscriber to Kindle like I am, you actually can take books out like a library. You can take books out as a library, and you can read them and send them back if you want to. I don't want you to do that with mine, but you can do that as well. So it's worth getting at least the app Kindle. Or if you go on to your internet, www.kindle.com, you can keep your books on the cloud. So you can sign into any gadget and your books are all sitting there instead of having all that space taken up on your smartphones and such. Absolutely. Yep. Kindle. It's free. Kindle. And you can order books right within Kindle. You can order them from Amazon and have it slide right into your Kindle account. And let us know. We'll help you with that as well. Ebony is superb and she's ready to do it. No, it's not sold out. It says pre-order. But I'm going to continue on with this and then we'll get up after. Yep. And then Kindle also gives you one free book a month as a Prime subscriber. So it is really, really worth it. Okay. I'm going to post this on the screen. Ebony has it up here. And see what we get. Constance, go to Apple or Google Podcasts and catch up the last 4 nights. It's quick to do. People have done it in one day. Go back on YouTube and the videos are all dated in the playlist. So Detox night 1, night 2, night 3, night 4. They're all in order. Go back and replay. Don't hate it. Use a positive coping mechanisms and say, I thank God for replay. That's a very adaptive coping mechanisms instead of saying, I hate that I missed it. I love the expression that you're given, but I want you to start training your mind on tonight. You're welcome, my dear. Absolutely. So remember that maladaptive, I posted it on the screen, but I had to move it now. I was giving you the definition. Maladaptive coping means participating in activities. Maladaptive coping means participating in activities that are counterproductive and can worsen existing feelings of stress. The immediate effects of maladaptive coping can appear to be helpful. You know, that immediate stuff always just feels so good. You ever heat something up in the microwave and then forget you heated it up, and then you go 5 minutes after it's cooled down and it's hard as a brick, or you try to heat it up again because you forgot it in there and the taste is just awful. That's what it's like. The immediate effects, if you enjoy it immediately, it's good. But if it sits around a little while or is a repeated pattern in your life for too many times, it is not a good thing for you at all. The immediate effects of maladaptive coping can appear to be helpful, which is why many people engage in this way of coping. They engage in this way of coping because there is an immediate flesh response. It's like lust over love. Who wants to put in the time and the effort for love when I can just get my stuff fulfilled in lust? I'll just have multiple lustful relationships my entire life until I'm an old man or an old woman and see that I really don't have anyone there who really knows me, who loves me, who cares for me. And when I don't get to realize it, that they don't really love me or care for me or know me until I can no longer do for them. So I've settled on this lust, this immediate feeling of my flesh, this immediate response feeling, instead of going the long road and the long route to achieve love. This is why people engage and suffer the short and long-term effects of maladaptive coping, because it appears to be helpful. However, in the long term, individuals are left always feeling worse. Very good. You guys are getting it. I'm going to post y'all on the screen because y'all working tonight. Examples of maladaptive coping mechanisms. You want to listen to last night's podcast or YouTube, because I ran another list down, and we are going to spend an evening going in one by one by one. We're going to hit the top 20 maladaptive coping mechanisms, 20, and we're going to do one a night. So the immediate effects of maladaptive coping can appear to be helpful, which is why many people engage in this way of coping. However, in the long term, individuals are left feeling worse. Examples of maladaptive coping mechanisms are heavy drinking, drug use, gambling, impulsivity, and other risky or self-harming behaviors. And when you get my book tonight, we're finishing up on page 16. When individuals choose maladaptive coping mechanisms, they tend to have a more grim outlook on life, as their choice of coping includes something that can further worsen their feelings long term. This way of coping highlights how individuals who choose maladaptive coping mechanisms may be trying to avoid and numb the stresses or stressful issues they are facing by not facing in their life. By not taking a head-on approach, I got it. Thank you, my secretary. By not taking a head-on approach, the patterns of processing feelings and moving past them become delayed or avoided. And over time, those emotions multiply, creating even more challenging experiences related to existing stressors. A few examples of defense mechanisms can be a rationalization. An example of a defense mechanism can be rationalization. For example, rationalizing your way out of a difficult situation. A project wherein a person usually projects their insecurities onto another person because they feel attacked for their choices at a deeper level. So a displacement happens, a displacement which suggests displacing the anxiety produced by this assumed threat onto different areas, which may also result in using an avoidance approach to not indulge with the threat, denial, where the person, I'm going to back up and say some words again, where the person denies dealing with the threat altogether. Repression is another one, where an individual tries to repress incidents or memories that can produce intense, uncomfortable emotions and many more. A lot of people who I know that were molested or raped as a child usually gets into some very maladaptive coping mechanisms in life. And we often treat the drug use, and it's never the drug. And the research behind that proof is because you can switch someone's drug and they can still be an addict. So the drug is not the problem. The drug is the coping mechanism. The drug is the fruit of a problem. But what is the problem? What is the root of the problem? What is the root of the problem? What is the root of the problem that you are choosing to cope the way you are? What happened? A few examples of defense mechanisms, I gotta go, can be a rationalization. For example, rationalizing or even reasoning your way out of a difficult situation. A projection, wherein a person usually projects their insecurities onto another person because they feel attacked. A displacement, which suggests I am displacing the anxiety produced by an issue onto a different area of my life. My job is stressing me out, but I'm really displacing the issues that I have in my marriage. Or my marriage is stressing me out. So I'm going to displace the anxiety from my marriage, and I'm going to say, my church is, I just can't keep up with my church and the activities in my church. Or there can be a problem in your marriage and you're going to displace that anxiety that's really produced from a trauma that happened in your childhood. And now you displace it. You project it onto your spouse or your boss or your God or your church or your relationship with your pastor. We project, we displace the anxiety produced by a threat, sometimes and usually unconsciously. We don't even remember the threat, onto other areas in our life. And we use it by doing what we call the avoidance approach. And we do it, why? Because we don't want to indulge with the threat that we're feeling in us. And then there's denial, where the person denies dealing with the threat altogether. And then the third level of this is repression, where an individual tries to repress incidents or memories that can produce intense, uncomfortable emotions and many more. And I'll tell you, the most toxic of these three levels, if you can think of them as levels, think of them as a spiral hole going into a deep, dark place in the ground. Think of it like that. So we've got an issue and we formed a defense mechanism in our life. So the first thing we do, we try to rationalize. We try to reason our way out of it. It's not that bad. It's not the way I'm feeling, or we put it on something else, right? And then we don't deal with it. So now we're going in a spiral hole. Now we're going deeper into the dirt. We're going deeper underground. We're going deeper in the grave, as the old folks would say. It's a rabbit hole now. So what do we do next? Because we perceive something as a threat, rationalizing our way out of it didn't hit. So now we go into denial. And we deny it because now I tried to reason my way out of it. I can't reason my way out of it. So if I deny it ever happened, so every time it comes back and tells me, but it did happen. And you're like, nope, I'm in denial. It didn't happen. But it did happen. Nope, I'm going to have a drink. But it did happen. Nope, I'm going to go and smoke. But it did happen. No, it didn't happen. It did happen. Well, they didn't mean when it happened to me, they did the best they could, but it still happened to you. Nope, I'm going to go out here and have some unprotected sex. Nope, they did the best they could for me. And nobody's going to tell me that I have problems from my childhood because my parents, they provided food for us and shelter for us, and they did the best they could for you. Yeah, but they knew your uncle touched you and nobody ever confronted the uncle. Nobody came and got you any therapy. They told you to be quiet because what goes on in the house stays in the house. They told you it's going to destroy the family if you go and tell everybody. They made it like you were the problem. You should have been covered up more. You should have been dressed up more. You so hot. You shouldn't have been so hot. You were always so hot. So I reasoned with this thought. I denied this thought, but your mind is still telling you, but it still happened to me. So now what do we do now? Now we go down and we repress it. This is when it starts manifesting in our body. Overweight, underweight, thyroid issues, headache issues, red eyes where we carry grief in our eye, stomach pains, gastrointestinal issues until it gets to our joints. When we go from trying to rationalize why they didn't protect me when they knew this thing happened to me, why they couldn't hear me, why they couldn't love me. Then we go into denying that it ever happened because I can't rationalize it anymore. So no, I'm just going to deny that it ever happened. And then if the denial isn't working because every time I deny it, I'm smoking, I'm sexing, I'm drinking, I'm gambling, I'm overspending, overeating. Now I can't eat at all. We move down now into repression. I'm going to bury it now because time heals. And that's the biggest lie we ever been told. Repression, where an individual tries to repress incidents or memories that has or can produce uncomfortable emotions and many more. Coping, on the other hand, takes place consciously. I'm choosing to be conscious in what they did to me, what they allowed to be done to me, what I never told anyone was done to me. I'm going to be conscious in this. I'm not going to rationalize and reason with it. I'm not going to deny it. I'm not going to repress it. I'm going to let my body feel and scream and break and shout and blame and anger and cuss and do whatever it is I got to do. Because if I don't do something in my human form, then I'm going to be sinning against God. I'm going to be sinning against my own self. Because coping, on the other hand, takes place consciously. You're making a conscious decision to confront it. Mom, I love you and you're my mom and you did the best you could for me, but you never made me feel safe. You never made me feel like you believed me. You never protected me. You never apologized to me. You never loved me. You never hugged me. You never gave me a birthday party. You never walked me to school. You were always with different men. It was never my turn. I thought when the last one left, the next time it would be my turn and you brought another man home. Dad, you said you were going to show up and you didn't show up, and you promised me you were going to show up. You promised me you wouldn't meet another woman, that you would make time for me. And it goes on and on and on. If we can start the process of coping instead of fending, warding off, or defending, start coping. But this takes a level of consciousness. It takes place consciously. And thus, the person diving into a coping mechanism makes conscious decisions that are good or bad to deal with their environmental threat. Bad coping takes place when mechanisms such as drug use, smoking, drinking, and other similar bad behaviors are undertaken by the person who is suffering. If you're suffering, I want you to put on the screen, I'm suffering from a threat, and as a result, uses a mechanism that is denial or repression focus. These behaviors may provide a likely relief to the person for example, smoking a cigarette, but leaves long-term counter effects on the body and brain of the person, which can later prove to be even fatal for the individual. Whereas good coping mechanisms can be described as conscious decisions that are undertaken by an individual to deal with the environments of threat, whether it is in the mind or in the world. I'm going to stop right there. Tomorrow we'll pick up on a few good examples of good coping behavior. Good coping behavior. I see y'all who are making this confession on the screen. And if you will allow me to pray for you, Father, I thank you for allowing us to touch and agree on tonight. I pray for everyone. There's 104 of us on here tonight. I pray for every single one of us in the power of your might. I pray especially for those who have confessed tonight that they are suffering. Father, you know our suffering. There is no suffering that has gone through any human being on this earth that you have not had a portion and a partaken in of your own. You know the matters of our heart. You know the matters of our life. You know where the repression is and the denial and the rationalizing, reasoning with the pain has now caused us to go down lanes and roads that are not healthy for us. We're not having a positive outlook on life. And we desire to have a positive outlook on life. You told us that you came that we may have life and that more abundantly. Help us to be delivered from the ghosts, the pain, the secrets, the shame that we carry in our souls. We turn those over to you tonight. It's the best way we know how. We start by admitting and confessing, I'm suffering. Maybe when we get off this screen tonight, we can talk to you in the privacy of our home in a safe place, or we can journal in our journals what it is that we really need to start confronting and coping in a healthy way. You told us in your word that little becomes much when we place it in your hand. Tonight, we place it in your hand. It is yours now. And I believe above all things that you are going to honor your word and be there for your children. After all, you are the healer, the grand healer. We thank you for the confessions of tonight. We thank you for your people on tonight. And I thank you for sweet sleep and restful rest until we get together again on tomorrow night at 7 p.m. I wish above all things that you prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers. We'll put the link up on my Facebook page and we'll send an email alert to everyone who registered for this 30-day detox. If you haven't, please go to my website and register and you'll get the link if you're able to purchase the ebook tonight. It's $9.99. It will be automatically slid into your electronic device on Monday. If you purchase tonight before midnight, there'll be something special added to it for you. I thank you. I thank you for the cash apps that are coming in now. I wish above all things that you prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers. God bless you and good night. Let it out.